Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, we're doing a deck profile about a deck that I've been talking about here on the channel for a long time. I've talked about it a lot in theory. Now I want to bring you guys a deck profile for you guys to start testing. I actually think it's actually particularly strong, and that is going to be WMAT Goku. So if you guys are interested, make sure to stick around, get the full breakdown of the deck profile. We'll be doing that here. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. If you guys want to help the channel out, you can always like the video, maybe subscribe, maybe share the video. If you want to buy or pre-order the cards you see in today's video, make sure you use my link down below in the description to TCG Player. And if you want to see how I'm handling set 10, some competitive articles about how I'm doing with set 10, some of my other more competitive brews for set 10, click the little eye in the corner up there and check out the Patreon in the description. With that being said, let's get started. So stopping power Son Goku, some of you guys may have no idea what this leader does. Some of you guys may have been listening to me talk about this leader a lot, but if you don't know what he does, real quickly, his front side, real simple. When this card attacks, draw 1, awaken life of 4 or less, untap 2 energy, switch into active mode. So the thing with this type of awaken effect is it's kind of like a more scarce thing now. Like, they kind of realized how powerful it was when they first started printing untap 2 leaders, especially when you just gain steady advantage on the front side. So this isn't something you see all the time nowadays. So when you do get it on a leader, it actually is particularly powerful. Like, using it defensively when you need to is really strong, but using it offensively to get an additional like boost in tempo in your turn, basically, you know, let's say on a turn 4 you awaken, you're basically playing with 6 energy at that point. You know, playing with 6 energy on turn 4 is very strong. You know, that's why ramp is good, right? So stopping power Son Goku, his awaken side is actually very high value. Auto once per turn. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. Then this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. That plus 5 is always nice. Auto once per turn. When this card KOs one of your opponent's battle cards, switch this card to active mode. So the really nice thing there is that he gets the 5k for the entire duration of the turn. So if you do KO a battle card for 20k, you restand, you swing your opponent's leader or maybe another battle card for 20k. That is very good. Unfortunately, you don't draw twice like Zamasu leader does, but still, for the value you get out of it, it is very good. Now here's the Unison lineup. We're playing 4 SS Bardock Paternal Unison. I took it upon myself to use the SPR art because, man, this stuff looks really dope. I can't wait to own this card. Anyways, this is the Unison in this deck we're really trying to abuse. Obviously, Metacooler is absolutely snapped in half busted. We'll talk about that in a minute. But SS Bardock Paternal Unison is the one we're trying to abuse, so we're playing 4 copies. Auto, when your opponent combos, you may place up to 1 card from the combo area in the owner's drop area if you do negate this skill for the turn. So the really nice thing there is that your opponent like can't combo in Raider's Warcry to kill this. Really, you just stop 1 combo per turn, and that really starts to add up. We are playing somewhat of a hand control deck, somewhat of a board control deck, but we're also playing a deck that kind of replenishes your own deck in resources. So it's kind of like picking in each different category there, but it does it all really well, which is really cool. So the activate main +1 is the main thing we want. Choose 1 card, choose one of your green battle cards with energy cost of 1 and KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. That's what we want to be doing basically every single turn. And man, it's so nice to be monocolor deck and have a turn 1 play where you can actually play a 1-drop, get that effect off, get this effect off on turn 2, and then from then on just keep going off with Bardock. So the -3 is a nice finishing effect. Activate main, this card gets plus 5,000 power and triple attack for the turn. Then we go over to Metacooler, Terrifying Horde. You pretty much have to play this in any mono green deck. I mean, it is super powerful. I'm not complaining about it. It just gets a little bit awkward. Like, you do have to know when to tag out your Bardock into a Metacooler. Like, let's say for several turns you're able to use Bardock's +1, start picking at your opponent's hand. Let's say your Bardock has accrued a lot of counters on it. Make sure you use that -3. Get the triple attacks in there, because every single time you attack them while they're at low life, like 4, 3, 2 life, your opponent's going to use cards to defend against that. So using that triple attack is almost another form of hand control. Then once you've used that Bardock's triple attack, tag him out by playing Metacooler Terrifying Horde. You get this crazy onslaught of attacks. Let's read what it does. So activate main once per turn. If your leader card is mono green, play a Metacooler token. They have 5k combo power and 15k power, 0 combo cost. So that's an activate main that does not have a tick on it. So you can use that every single turn no matter what else you do with this card. Activate main +1, discard a card, draw 2. So that's good for just getting you more advantage. -4 activate main, play 3 Metacooler tokens. So the -4 in this is almost like the -3 on Bardock. It's just more game-ending finishing power. Get more beaters to the board, start swinging face. So triple attack with Bardock, spam 4 tokens with Metacooler. That's a lot of attacks, a lot of game-ending power. So keep that in mind of knowing when to tag those out. Bulma Life on Namek. We are playing a ton of 1-drops here in the deck. and Bulma Life on Namek is the first one. Normally these Unison searchers aren't very good, but we're playing a lot of search targets for her, so keeping that in mind, she searches the top 5 for a green Unison, specified cost of 2. Unfortunately, she does not search the meta cooler, but that's okay. She also searches for Sans green with 3 costs or less. So our first one here, Trading Blows Son Goku. This is the reason we're here. This is the reason why we're playing this leader. When you play this card, if the leader card is a world tournament, which we are, your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand. Your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and places it in their drop area. So turn 1, make him discard with this. Turn 2, kill this off, make him discard with Bardock. You're off to the races. Vegeta the Lone Prince, super combo. You can't play this card with skills from any area. Auto, if your leader card's green, you have 4 or less life. This card is using a combo, draw 1. Auto, if your leader card's mono green, when this card's played, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. So 8 1-drops that make your opponent discard. Very, very good here in terms of synergy. Newfound Power Son Gohan. We do need some form of self-awakening in the deck. We are basically a resource control deck. We want to be critting the opponent while we're self-awakening. The fact that he is a Son Gohan youth is very important actually for later on in the video, which we will talk about. Son Gohan potential unlocked. We are playing Unisons obviously, and this guy is a free play. Free play is generally always good. He is a unique blocker, and if you have a green, if your leader's green, you have a green Unison with specified cost of 2 in play this card without paying its energy cost. So a few things there. I mean, it's a free blocker, so basically eats up an attack on a boss monster, eats up an attack you don't want to take, but it's also a free play to then use Bardock's uptick, which is very, very good. So whether you want to block with it, whether you want to free play it, you can do that. You can like free play this uptick on Bardock, kill it off, and then free play another copy if you have it. And we do want Son Gohans in the drop area for what we'll talk about later. Zarbuto Heroic Stance serves multiple purposes of the deck. We've talked about, you know, take a life, double strikers here before. They're very, very good for clearing Unisons. So, you know, in the mirror match, if you're up against a paternal Unison like a Bardock, for example, you can't really combo to get rid of it. So having the 1-drop 15k double striker is going to help you clear it relatively easily. And then the game ending power here, like, we don't really have a lot of flashy stuff in the deck, but mostly you are ripping your opponent's resources to shreds. So when you do that, the 1-drop 15k double striker is very, very nice for going for game. Next up, the extra cards in the deck, just 8 of them. We have Dorm Potential Unleashed at 4. I think this is probably the best counterattack. I shouldn't call it a negate. The best counterattack you can play in this Vegex oriented format. You just want to have this thing every single turn. Free play it when you have a Unison. Your opponent only gets 2 attacks for that turn. A little bit of board removal. This is actually very good as well for protecting your Bardock, because you can't combo to protect him, since, you know, when Unisons are attacked, you don't get a combo step. So with Dorm Potential Unleashed, if they are using the 1-drop 15k double strikers like the strategy I just kind of gave you to get rid of it, well, Dorm Potential Unleashed doesn't negate that attack, but it does KO up to 2 cost. So you KO that 1-drop they're attacking with, effectively stopping the attack. That's very, very good. Cells Earthshoring Kamehameha, one of the best cards you can play in mono green, especially with a cheap cost. You'll notice that most of this deck is very, very cheap cost. You're playing mostly 1-drop battle cards. Your Unisons are relatively cheap, and your Cell Destroying Earth Kamehameha is a very good defensive card, 15k combo, rip a random card out of your opponent's hand. That's always very, very impactful than just letting your opponent discard their most useless card. You being able to pick at random, potentially sniping an SCR, a negate they needed, things like that is very, very good. Now here's the main engine of the deck. We're playing 2 Piccolo Assimilated Ability because we do need Piccolos in the drop area for the card you see on screen that I'll read in a minute. But besides that, this is probably the best green Piccolo you can play in the game. I do think the card's very, very good. You know, most green decks aren't playing it right now. It is susceptible to counterplay, but most people aren't playing the extra card counterplays. They're playing most of the battle card counterplays. So like in the green mirror, Frieza Charismatic Villain doesn't stop this. And in a lot of mirrors, or a lot of matchups rather, they can't really stop this card because it does have barrier. Blue can stop it, but this card is still good against things like Obuni. So if you are able to remove their Unison, having this against their Obuni Onslaught is very, very good. Now here's the other card we're here for, Intensive Training Son Goku. 4-drop 20k Deflect Barrier. Activate main / battle. If your leader card is a green Son Goku card and you have a total of 5 green Son Gohan youths, Vegetas, Bulmas, Krillins, and or Piccolos, you send them from your drop area to your warp. Choose 1 mono green Son Goku with energy cost of 5 in your hand or deck. Play it on top of this card, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So we just got done going through a ton of Bulma, Gohan, Vegeta targets. We do have 2 Piccolo targets here. We're not playing any of the Krillins because honestly with this deck they don't synergize very, very well, but regardless, we are cycling through a lot of our Vegetas and Bulmas and Gohans, so getting them to the drop area is not very difficult, especially with the Bardock Paternal Unison. So this thing with Deflect Barrier, we know that's obviously a very, very good set of traits, so casting this for 4 usually is never going to hurt you. And then it brings out this 5-drop Goku here on the screen, SS Son Goku, Pride of the Sands. 5 drop 25k double strike permanent. This card can't be removed from a battle area by skills. Auto, if there's a Son Goku card with an energy cost of 4 under this card and this card is in rest mode, when your opponent plays a battle card with an energy cost of 5 or less, they choose 2 cards in their hand and discard them. So very, very good there in the sense of you're taxing your opponent for playing battle cards now. I mean, most things they play will be 5 or less. Like if they want to play Obuni, they're going to be hurting after this card, which is very, very good. Auto, when this card's played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and KO them. So basically a 4 energy board wipe that also punishes your opponent for playing most battle cards in their deck. Very, very good. I think it's very, very consistent in this deck in the sense that you are cycling through most of your targets needed for the intensive training Son Goku. So I really, really like this combo. Next up, for a few game ending finishers and some counterplay, we're playing 4 Frieza Charismatic Villain. You are playing the Paternal Unison. It is basically a free counterplay. You should definitely play 4 copies. It's just so good in that regard. Finishing Spirit Bomb Son Goku, not a card you have to play by any means. This is a 52 card list, so you could easily cut this Goku, but I do like it. I mean, comboing the 3 super combos in the drop area always feels really good. I mean, it's a 1 energy 25k double strike that lets you go in, you know, basically your 5 drop Goku can't be removed, so he's going to stick around, and whenever you have the game winning shot to go into this guy, play him, combo 3 super combos from the drop area, get insane value. It's very, very good. Frieza Charismatic Villain, we talked about it. Then Grade 8 Mass Sand Primal Carnage. This is the SCR I'm choosing to go with. I just talked about it in yesterday's video. Got a little bit of information wrong about it, but that's okay. It works perfectly fine in this deck. If your leader is mono green and you remove this card from the combo area from the game, when this card's used in the combo, choose 1 card in your opponent's battle area, KO it, ignoring barrier. So 1 energy removal I think is very, very good in this format, especially when you have decks like Invoker. You really need to snipe their Invokers, need to snipe their 3 drop Gokus. Activate main, pay 5, play this, gain dual attack triple strike. I think that's very, very high value in terms of game ending power. You basically whittle down their resources, play this, go for game. So that was the main deck, guys. A few suggestions. Dark Death Ball is a good card to consider for the side deck because of a deck like U7 Invoker. You want to be able to answer their 3 drop Goku. So having a card that can do that for free is very, very good. Obviously, Rebrand's one of the best cards in green. You can definitely consider playing it. I personally didn't because there aren't too many great ways to get it to the drop area efficiently. Yeah, you have the Meta Cooler, but realistically, that's the only card in the deck that does it. So I chose not to play Rebrand. It is kind of nice because not playing Rebrand does save you a little bit in terms of price tag on the deck. Shocking Death Ball, if you wanted to play more of like a hard negate, you know, something unlike Dormant Potential Unleash that doesn't actually stop the attack you use it on, Shocking Death Ball is great. Also for the option of Self-Awakening, that's very good as well. So keeping that in mind, these are just suggestions for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. I want to know what you think about it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.